question. So I've been we're starting the podcast. Hello guys, this is the podcast. Hey, um, this is 100 Rainbows, and he's got his own store. I think this is his Amazon store inside Decentraland, which is really cool. I'm just going to ask him a few questions about NFTs and what he thinks about the future of NFTs how he's implementing this in Decentraland. And yeah, so just a bit of background. 100 Rainbows, what gave you the idea for the store, and where do you think it's going to go?
So I guess obviously I started the Amazon business even before knowing what Decentraland was. We obviously had the Amazon store, and we were looking for another way to, I guess, market it. And then I found Decentraland. I was like, what is this? And it didn't take me very long to realize that Decentraland seemed like kind of like a fancy website, but a way to provide an interactive experience to people in a virtual world. Because especially with COVID being around, it was very difficult to walk into a physical store. Not that was always it was never my intention to build a physical store, obviously because of the financial cost, but I always knew that doing something online was the way to go. So I only got into the crypto space maybe 3 months ago, and as soon as I found Decentraland, it was just like something hit me, and I was just like, okay, this is where I need to be. This is what I need to do. At least utilizing it as a additional stream, or like a marketing stream. Especially because I was kind of into like virtual reality and stuff as well. So maybe I can show you what I've done. I mean, if you were to do something like this in the real world and, put up a physical building, or, purchase a physical building and put up videos and to recreate it would just not be financially feasible for so many people. And then when you look at a parcel of land now, in the low range, it's like $6,000 to $7,000, I guess, just on the cheaper end, and then on the more expensive end, it can go to like tens of thousands of dollars, right? You could imagine me kind of being a shop attendant, taking you through, here's the painting, here's the videos, here's the links, what I call links lobby. And it's got links here to the US Amazon store, to the Australian Amazon store, to obviously our .com websites and our .com.au websites. You got our social links. And I guess what's interesting about Decentraland as well in terms of social media advertising or interaction is that you can really personalize it. So while most businesses will obviously use Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, you can put in a Discord link here as well. So I would love to see like we know Atari is already here, but what if like a Sony PlayStation was to come in and have a Discord here where they could interact with customers directly on Discord as well? It's really interesting that this whole thing is an NFT, right? I guess when NFTs are getting out there and they're new, but I guess when people first experience an NFT, it's they think that it's like a pretty picture, and it is a pretty picture that you can provide some some digital art or some animation to it. But what's really interesting is that Decentraland has provided so much more for what an NFT can do, because this whole land is a non-fungible token that you can build an interactive space on. So it's really so much deeper than just a pretty picture. Let me show you what we're doing with our NFT, because I guess trialing creating 3D models on Blender and then deploying it into the world. So while the ground floor is I guess for commercial use, just like you would in a normal commercial building, you got different floors and different uses for it. So here you can see we've got two different Bitcoin models, or these are essentially will be the 100 Rainbows NFT. We title it Plant the Seed, and it's going to, we'll eventually mint those and hopefully try to produce some income and some profits that we intend to inject back into the community, because what we feel is that Decentraland needs to grow the ecosystem or the economy. So what I guess what I mean by that is, when you first look at any kind of regional economy and how it starts. You might have a city, and then you'll have citizens that are part of that city, and then they need a food source, so there might be a bakery that opens up, but then that bakery is going to need the ingredients to make the bread, which the citizens need. So next to that bakery, there might be a flour manufacturing factory that opens up, and then from there, the factory might need other ingredients and so on and so forth that are required to produce the bread so the citizens can have. And what I mean by that is here we come in, or I've come in, I've purchased a property, and there are some artists here who want to be able to promote their artwork. But for whatever reason they can't do it at this stage where they can buy their own property. But what they can do is they can rent, right? So essentially, I become a landlord who has tenants, and that tenant uses the property like they would in the real world to put in their furnishings as they like, and then produce an economy where they can go ahead and sell their own artwork. So you provide this economy where there are all these different people creating these win-win situations, which is, kind of just great for the whole Decentraland ecosystem. And that's what we need, like this economy.
But that's why there's loads of hype around it, because something can be really scarce and something can be ultra scarce where there's only one, and you have that power to just control how popular or how scarce your NFT is. So therefore, more hype would surround it and stuff like that. Unless you catch a wave with your artwork, and you only sell like a certain amount. It's not indefinite, because you can still sell more. Like if you say, I have a promotion, I'm going to only sell 100, but you can to say, I'm going to sell 100 of these, and it's written in like Ethereum blockchain to only sell 100 ever in the world. Then more hype, and it gets more valuable because there's nothing there. Yeah.
I guess when one creates an NFT and they say, okay, I'm only going to mint 100, what is stopping that person from minting more than 100? Or like you said, it needs to be programmed or coded into, I guess, the contract. I guess that's kind of beyond my capabilities. I guess essentially it seems like a promise not to do it as well. Because I think didn't one of the tokens, it might have been Yiffy, Wi-Fi. I'm not too sure. But I think there have been certain circumstances where a token has a certain amount in circulating supply, and then for whatever reason they decide to mint more of them, and then it drives down the price. I've always have been them. I mean, yeah, okay, you got the ethics side of it, whether or not you should mint more or not. But then I'm surprised that they even had the capability to do that. So yeah, that's another open question that I'm not too sure about.
I think what you're talking about there is when people so when they increase the token supply or reverse it and have lots of tokens and then burn loads of tokens to make it even make it worth more and more scarce when they get traction. It's usually that way around, but when they have less tokens and increase the supply of tokens, it makes it worth less, but at the same time it makes it worth more, because you have enough tokens to have a user network or distribute like a lot of tokens to users to use as a currency or a token in your game. I think some NFTs like at the start or whatever they were doing like burnt the tokens after they got a lot of traction to make them more scarce and more valuable, but then what would you use all those tokens for if there's less of them? Like you'd probably use them to just assign them to artwork or something and make a lot of money out of them. But I think it makes more sense to do it the other way around, to attract. And once the platform's been built, then there's enough interest to actually use them, and then they get value. Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense. You need liquidity to be trading it, unless you're like a super brand, like a super artist, like a Beeple, for example, obviously you've already kind of got a name for yourself, and you can get it's easier for them to, or him to, just make one piece of art. But I guess when you're just young, and in your infancy, like 100 Rainbows, I guess maybe it makes more sense to mint more than one, so that those are available out there and that they're, available to trade. And then I would love to see it on people's land. Wouldn't that be amazing if, like, I've got my neighbor over here who bought some land recently. He owns that block and to the sides of my building, and as an example, like, what if that landowner wanted to purchase one of the NFTs and wanted to put it in the corner somewhere? Like, that'd be amazing.
So when things pop up like casinos and stuff like that, because they're being bought, like lots of land is being bought out, but then there's lots of casinos next to them. So then it's kind of this land craze of building the communities. Like, you've got some neighbours here, and you've got like a small community. I don't know if that's like the same thing as you. I don't know if it's like a store, but it's cool. Like there's lots of estates on the Decentraland that are similar, and there's like going to a club, and there's like club estates, and there's like casino like estates, and there's so it's like it's slowly building communities where you can go to just do things. There'll be like a high street soon, and this might be the high street, or one high street which is there, which shows like you have to. It is a time to get in, or it is a time to observe.
Yeah, I guess because I guess when I first bought this this property here, there was kind of no use for it. It was just that green type of grass, right? Like just open woodland designs. And then I guess I just thought it was a cool location, kind of next to a street, because I think that having I guess a face of the property facing the street was important, because it's Decentraland, I guess, governance or the foundation that owns the street, right? So that essentially I'm hoping we would never change. Whereas when the other three sides of my property is owned by another landowner, and he could essentially, if he wanted to, like, build a brick wall and completely block my view, right? I mean, I hope he doesn't do it, but it's his property. He can do what he wants. That's why I thought it was important that when purchasing land, it was important to have something facing the street, and that's, I guess that was the thinking there. But going back to the point of how things pop up, when I first got this place, there was no one next to me, and there was no kind of point of interest on the map as well. Maybe we could cover the point of interest thing there as well. But I guess it comes down to who's producing content. And I guess when I purchased this one, then the neighbor purchased one, then the neighbor next to him purchased one. And it's really kind of interesting how things kind of pop up like that. But it would be amazing if the landowner here like has an idea for a business store as well, or some kind of online business, because then we could essentially become like a business district, because there are obviously many art galleries and things, and there's a casino, but to kind of have this area which is located next to the Asian Plaza as well, so it would become another spawning ground if Decentraland was to, or when Decentraland increases in popularity and with more active players. But I think it's a real good chance for this part of the map to distinguish itself as another unique district.